Welcome back, one and all, to Trails to Azure. I'm the TheDarkSeraph. Last time, we broke out of jail. I don't like that I had to re-equip all my shit. That's annoying. Just gonna level with you there. That's annoying. So, we're making my escape from jail. Chili pepper! Nope, 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 nope. Damn sure not alone. Take that, chili pepper. Oop, I saw a shiny. Some monster eggs. Die, die. Death, death. Swip, swap. Not good. Lloyd Bannings. Pincer formation. Well, I'm fucked. Their uniforms may be different, but they're just as unshakable as ever. Come on, Lloyd Bannings, you can do this. Oh, great. Overkill! Ain't no kill like an overkill. Level 80. Brave Smash, level 2. My best bet is sneaking into Crossbell City is going to be from the freight line. Come hell or high water, I have to make it out of here in one piece, no matter what it takes. Well, that didn't go well. A commendable effort. Who thought a simple detective could hold out for so long against a born-again defense force? Isn't he a former teammate of 2nd Lieutenant Seeker? Maybe we shouldn't be so surprised. Enough talk, disarm him. Remember, our orders are to take him alive. I don't think so. Damn! He can still move? Help me understand. Why bother going this far? Can you just not stomach your precious crossbell changing so much? Wake up. No matter how much you struggle, you'll never make a difference on your own. That's not true. The only thing stopping us from making a difference is refusing to stand up and try. I refuse to be swept away by this. I refuse to close my eyes and let truth pass me by. The people I care about need me, and I swear I'll take them back. So understand this. I will never give up. No matter how many times you knock me down, I won't surrender. You can break my legs, but I'll get back up on my feet. What's with this guy? What a shame. Charge him by my command, men. Let's see him get up after this. Roger. Aim for the legs. Don't back down, Lloyd. Not till the bitter end. Oh, yeah, don't shoot for the legs because there's some bleedy boys in your legs. Kia, Ellie, Tio, Randy, Wazzy, Sergey, lend me your strength. I'm disappointed in you. You seem to have forgotten to include someone in your prayer. What was that? What the? Ziet? What? Leave now, soldiers of this false paradise. This man falls under my charge. Confounded beast. Hey, I like you. You got balls. You're gonna die, but you got balls. The Crossbell Defense Force would never let themselves surrender to a mere cryptid. Well, must I repeat myself? No, that's quite alright. Retreat! It would seem I gave them a great deal more shock than I had intended. It has been ages since I assumed this form, after all. Perhaps I may have forgotten just how to restrain myself. There are so many things I could say about this right now. But I'll keep it short and just ask this one question. And what would that be? What the hell, Ziet? How is your timing always this good? I fucking love that. What the hell? A holy beast sent by Adios. You. Well, that is not entirely correct. It will be simpler if you think of me in such terms. So Ziet is one of the divine beasts. You already know the Septarians bestowed upon mankind by the grace of the goddess in times past. We holy beasts are tasked with keeping vigil over those treasures, as well as their keepers. When you say we, does that include the dragon that appeared during the Liberl incident? An excellent deduction. That dragon is known as Ragnar. He is indeed one of my brethren. It's funny you can see how this loops every now and then. Like, you can see something pop up in a frame for a brief second. It's a loop. He remained in the land known as Liberl for centuries to observe the Septarian of space. However, even I am unaware of his current location, now that his oath has been fulfilled. That is a little tough to follow. But would that mean you've been here in Crossbell since distant past yourself? That is correct. I have dwelled in this land since before the Great Collapse, over 1,200 years ago. As for the reason the Septarian of Mirage vanished from its domain, as well as actions man took in their misguided attempts to revive it. Both are knowledge that I hold to a certain extent. Those are things the others and I had never been able to unearth on our own. The Septarian of Mirage, gifted by the goddess and inherited by the Croix family. Why did it disappear, and why does Kia, of all people, bear the burden of trying to replace it? Please, Ziet, I have to know the truth. Not just about what happened 1,200 years ago, but how it relates to Kia, to what Kia went through 700 years ago. Later, excuse me. Very well. I presented myself in this form with every intention of telling you. The Septarian that Adios bestowed upon this land, its name was Demiurgus, the treasure that governed the power of Mirage. Mirage is the element that controls perception and cognition. So too does it hold dominion over causality. A portion of this land's people had a goal for its power, and at the center of their shared aspirations was the Croix family. The goal was to unseat Adios as a supreme deity in lieu of a god that could walk amongst mankind. A god that could guide its people through empathy and infinite wisdom. A god that can change the very fabric of fate itself. On the surface, the power resembles that of the Oriel, which could grant man's desire without end. However, Demiurgus was bestowed with a high-minded dignity, and so it was not subject to the same faults as the Shining Ring. Okay. So, Kia, or Demiurgus, is the goddess-made man. Kia is the goddess Adios in human form. This just straight up confirms that. Kia is the goddess made flesh and blood. Hush, bird. Okay. Within it was the wisdom and judgment to guide humanity without corrupting it in the process. In wielding this power, Demiurgus was thus capable of shepherding mankind onto its proper path. Okay, yeah, this is just straight up Jesus. These are just straight up Jesus parallels. And it would have done so had its own heart not reached its limit. The world is an irrational place, and the people who live upon it are comprised of their numerous natures and deeds. To understand them and to steer their course, the Septarian required a sense of empathy, just as humans have. With time, that empathy deteriorated, Demiurgus' heart giving way to an enervating anguish. It feared that if things continued, it would come to harm those it sought to protect. Thus, with a heavy heart, it steeled its resolve and made its decision. And so, by untreading the nexus of its own causality, the Septarian of Mirage disappeared from this world. So that's what happened. But what about the people it left behind? What did they do? In the wake of the Septarian's departure, they were left bewildered, sorrowed, and frightened. But instead of reflecting upon the motivations behind Demiurgus' choice, they strayed from the path it had sought to lead them onto. Thereafter, those zealots became obsessed with creating an entity constituent to the Septarian they had lost. In the beginning, they were clueless, merely stumbling through the darkness. After 700 years, they had gathered enough knowledge to not only develop, but master their own unique practice. Alchemy, a magical art capable of giving form to the formless. And that is what gave way to D, therefore G. Demiurgus, therefore Gnosis. And it all comes together. It was then that a grand plan was formulated. They formed the cult as a pawn to play from the shadows, then entrusted them with reaching the future core of the new Septarian. The land of Crossbell then need to be primed for their grand ceremony, the pinnacle of alchemical transmutation. They were measures outlined by the alchemists of the Croix family several hundred years ago. To ensure their plan was financially feasible, the Croix family adopted a public image as prestigious bankers. Meanwhile, the cult began steps to eventually awaken the core that had become the object of their worship. Look on the right, you can see her in the capsule. Now, 500 years later, we have achieved our current predicament. It's all so unbelievable. But I feel like I can finally grasp the big picture. Ziet. Mariabelle called Kia the Septarian of Zero. What did she mean by that? Does that make her different from the Septarian of Mirage? Unfortunately, I do not have an answer for that one. It could be that the Croix family made an unexpected discovery as their 1200-year delusion began to materialize. If that is the case, they may not have created an entity equal to Demiurgus. That is to say, the Septarian of Zero may very well surpass the might of the original. The Ion of White is one such example. The power it demonstrated was not that of its own, but rather of the Septarian. However, a Septarian of Mirage did not possess the ability to manipulate reality so instantaneously. The faculty is more akin to a different higher element, space. Assuming there is even more to their artificial Septarian than we currently know, I cannot begin to fathom what it might be capable of. I was afraid you would say that. There's one more thing I'd like to ask. Based on what you've told me, Kia, she isn't really human, is she? She is, and yet she is not. Kia is a synthetically created being to serve as the core of a manufactured Septarian. So Kia is a homunculus. Yeah, like I was just saying, she is most likely a homunculus that was created through advanced transmutation. So her physical appearance is not going to change very much. Kia probably realized the truth herself a long time ago. Like she isn't going to change very much as she grows older. She's not immortal. But she will not physically age the same way other people do. Her physical appearance will not alter very much. And yet, never once did she stop smiling for us. Kia. Shit's getting real. Is this the Calvardian border? Yes, the Defense Force soldiers should have difficulty finding us here. This will be a good opportunity to rest. Thank you, Ziet. You really saved me back there. What is that? A barrier of some sort that appeared around Crossbell City. It would seem that only those that are permitted may enter freely, and those that are not cannot pass through it at all. Be they living creature or machine. You've got to be kidding me. As you saw when you escaped, Pleroma grass began to bloom as though all throughout the state of Crossbell. It would be accurate to think of it as a sign that the land itself has become one with the newly born Septarian. Ziet, what is Pleroma grass? I've heard it shares some sort of connection to the septium veins underground. It was once the proverbial eyes of the former Septarian of Mirage. As it bloomed, Demiurgus could observe and understand the surface world. It is also capable of distorting the surrounding space when spiritually linked to a Septarian. Birds. Shush. You have food and you have water. You have a millet spray. Now stop your bickering. I'm scolding my birds like they're children. That is the most probable cause of the cryptid's sudden emergence. Such beings should not exist on this plane by nature. I think I understand. Those disgusting rituals that the Therefore G cult were conducting, they were all talking about the advantage of the Pleroma grass properties to perfect Gnosis. Yes, their goal was to accumulate the knowledge and the personalities of the victims who fell to the drug's influence. Said corpus of data would subsequently be transferred into a girl slumbering within the cradle of the Sun Fort. The vast amounts of information would then self-organize to nurse forth the highly minded dignity they sought to recreate. Then, after 500 years, the core of the Septarian awoke. This is the extent of my knowledge. The choices presented to you are now rather limited. Would you not prefer to flee to foreign soil until the storm has subsided? I understand why you would ask, but my uncle's home is in Calvard. My uncle's home is in Calvard, so it's true that I have somewhere to lay low if I had to. But that's not an option right now. There's work to be done here. I have answers to find and a case to crack. Do you now? Solving the crisis and uncovering the truth will be more than just a one-man job. Ellie, Tio, Randy, and not just them, everyone. I need all of their strength. So you see, I can't run and I can't hide. I have to go back and face it all. I'm sorry to do this after you brought me all the way out here, but I still have a duty to fulfill. What truth are you hoping to ascertain? Isn't that obvious? I don't care about her powers or where she came from. What I want to know is what Kia wants. More than anything else in this world, and I need to hear it straight from her heart. And chances are, I'll never be able to find out unless I bring her home. There's also the matter of what happened to the old Septarian. How can we expect Kia to shoulder the burden of Demiurgus couldn't? Kia is family to me. I could never just sit by and let her suffer that fate. So I'm going to take her back, even if that means kicking the President and Arias off their fucking pedestals. Good to see that little stint in the Clink hasn't changed Crossspell's Father of the Year. Hello, Wazzy. Oh, Kevin! Wazzy, what are you doing here? Arbus, Reese, and Kevin. It's good to see you again, Bannings. That's a... Wazzy is a fucking Gralzenritter? Excuse me! Wazzy and Arbus are both Gralzenritter of the Septian Church. I just noticed the fucking uniform. God. It's been too long. How have you been hanging these past 4 months? Thanks for remembering me, by the way. Yeah, it seems like fucking Falcon doesn't remember you. Although Trails Over the Horizon did feature you in the trailer, so maybe they do. Hard to forget the names and faces of the Septian Church's Gralzenritter. Wait, Wazzy, does that mean you're... Ah. Wazzy Hemisphere, the Sapphire Testament. Otherwise known as the 9th Dominion of the Gralzenritter of the Septian Church. You son of a bitch! It's a pleasure to make your reacquaintance. Also, I'm noticing that his head shape's a little off there on the... I guess it'd be on the right with that perspective. Left side there, his right. I notice it's a little off. It's probably just the perspective. What? What? Incidentally, I am a knight of the Gralzenritter. I work in service of Wazzy. You have got to be shitting me. Have you two really been stringing me along all this time? Yes. Wait a second. When we first met Reese, neither of you said a word about any of this. My apologies. I pretended not to know who he was. Father Wazzy's undercover mission is regarding of the utmost secrecy. Her arrival here completely fooled that old grump Iralda. He had no idea who the real mole was. I really owe her for that one. Happy to be of service. I mean, yeah, for once Reese standing out like a sore thumb she is worked out. Anyone could have seen through her sister act. I bet the Archbishop was beside himself when she walked through the door. I have no idea what you're talking about. And besides, you're hardly in any position to preach to me about how to successfully go undercover, knowing your track record. To be fair, none of them looked anything like your average clergy people. I believe it should have been clergymen. Anyway, that's enough catching up for now. You see, the actual reason we're here is because he called us. Ziet. That is correct. I had a hunch your resolve would remain firm, so I thought it prudent to recruit the collaborators on your behalf. Now that you've known I've been infiltrating Crossbell, you can probably fill in the blanks. But the Gralzenritter has seen this situation coming for a while now, to a certain degree at least. Still, there are a lot of gaps to bridge. We didn't know the Croix family was behind the conspiracy, for one, or Kia's true identity. Ziet recently brought us up to speed on the whole story, like I'm sure he did with you. That being said, what we are contending with here is an artificially reconstructed Septarian of Mirage. This situation is far beyond the scope of the Girls and Render's typical duty of artifact retrieval. As such, the circumstances would normally make this out of our jurisdiction. But on the other hand, we couldn't just ignore the Society's involvement in this brouhaha. That's where you come in, Mr. Detective. You're our in for getting our hands dirty. That's about the size of it. I think we'll be allowed to intervene if it's under the guise of collaborating with you. You're doing this on a technicality. So, Lloyd, what do you say? There's just one thing I need to confirm first. Kia, what does the church plan to do with her? Right for the jugular. That's a toughie. Yes, but being dishonest will get us nowhere. I agree. He deserves to know the truth. Then that's what we'll give him. The Septarian of Zero is far more dangerous than the Septarian of Space, the Oriel, ever was. That much is certain. Even if we still haven't grasped the full breadth of her power yet. You've been locked away for weeks. Are you aware of what's been happening around the continent? Not really. All I've heard is that there's a civil war has broken out in an empire. Boy, has it! It all got put on the fast track after the armored division they tried to send across the border was snuffed out. You know how the Golden Stallion rolls, but every time they tried to push back, they got whooped all over again by the Aeons. Right when things were going to hell in a handbasket over there, the Noble Alliance troops scuttled out and occupied Heimdall. It was then that the Blood and Iron Chancellor was shot. No one has seen him since. Now that the Empire is ablaze in the flames of war, we expect it to be doused. We don't expect it to be doused anytime soon. Meanwhile, the Republic has been in an economic crisis as a result of Crossbell's actions. On top of that, terrorist activity has been in full swing to the point where the President has formally declared a state of emergency. When it rains, it pours. You don't even know the half of it. It's not like things are coming up roses in other countries either. Questionable activities have begun to surface in regions of Erebony and Calvert have tremendously had under their thumbs. All the while, President Croix has been pressuring heads of state throughout the continent to have them bend the knee to Crossbell. And naturally, he has the power of the Septarian to coerce them with. Exactly. It had the ability to repel the Imperial Army, one of the most powerful military forces in all of Sumeria. And that's just with 3 archaisms the Society supplied. What do you think would happen if they were mass-produced, souped up by the Septarian of Zero, and deployed continent-wide? Kia would never agree to that, not when it means harming innocent people. In all technicality, it does not seem that the archaisms are controlled by the Septarian directly. More likely, the Septarian's power has granted them the ability to move autonomously as her guardians. Much like that Ren girl's archaism, Patermatter. I'm inclined to agree on that point. Haas, I seriously doubt that little girl is in the driver's seat there. All that makes it all the easier for those Aeons to be abused by just about anyone, with her none the wiser. Whether or not Kia is consciously in control is beside the point. A power like that is too much danger to ignore. Okay, now I know where the church stands, but despite your stake in this, I'd still like to ask your cooperation. Really? I thought you were going to turn us down for sure. I didn't expect you to be a Dominion. That threw me for a loop. I mean, it makes sense you have a connection to the church. Like, you mentioned how you were never one for Sunday school, but you were still knowledgeable of the Testaments, and you called your little street gang the Testaments. And you were the one that guided us on the whole Pleromagrass. I'm just being realistic. I know this isn't something I can do by myself. Time isn't on my side either. The longer this drags out, the more Kia will be made to suffer. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. If you lay even one hand on Kia, I'll stop you, even if that means fighting to my dying breath. And I'm not the only one. Ellie, Tio, and Randy would say the same thing. We will never let you take her. Call it a fallacy, call it illogical. I don't care. We are her family, and we will not let any one of you hurt her. Damn, I knew you were a sharp guy, but I didn't know you had that kind of fire in you. I think I'm starting to get why you like him so much, Wazzy. That's a light way to put to it. This man has stolen my heart. I'm serious, Wazzy, if you... I know. As a Dominion of the Gralzenritter, I swear on Adios' name. You will not be excluded from how we choose to deal with her. Your opinions and input will be heard. I know that's not ideal, but this is the best I can do given our position. Sound good to you? Yeah, good enough, I guess. Then we have a deal. Okie dokie. Time to get to work. Let's move out, gang. What's that? Ah, that sound. It harkens me back to times past. The Heavenly Chariot, I take it. One of the Gralzenritter's private airships. The Merkaba. Airships. Technical class received, reserved for use by the Gralzenritter. We call them Merkaba. Each is equipped with a number of stealth functions, including, but not limited to, optical camouflage. They'll be just what we need to stay discreet while traveling through cross-belt airspace. Well, Lloyd, ready to go? Let's do this. And I'm going to end that one here. A Grail Locket. Prison of Hard Knocks.